Smoking through it all, cause nothing in life lasts forever. We don't want these hoes, don't want the fame, we want the cheddar. Told her we can have it all if we do it together. You know I'ma pass the ball, but only to my brother. You know I'ma pass the blunt, but only to my sister. I'ma pass the bottle, pass these hoes off to my niggas.
Down. Is it recording on here? All right, we're just gonna get right into it. You know what I'm saying? Just finna flow it out, and then finna get into my intro, and then from the intro go to the questions. But keep in mind, this is just like a regular conversation. It's just we're recording it. And don't worry about any background noise. If something happens, like we just flowing with it. You know what I'm saying? If you guys have any input, feel free to just throw it out there. If we have if we stumble across a word or something that we don't know, feel free to chime in, whatever it is. But yeah, man. So it ain't exclusive if it ain't a EMLN exclusive. It's your boy BQ, and welcome to the Low Key Facts Podcast. We're in the beautiful downtown San Ho, 408 Silicon Valley. What's up, my dog, man? Out there with the poochies and shit. I see you. But yeah, we're right here in downtown San Jose, and I'm accompanied by individual who's been doing producing, DJing, been in the mix, pursuing a journey that isn't necessarily visible in the beginning, but as she's been progressing through her journey, she's been getting a lot more closer to her goal and still trying to achieve more. Straight from San Jose, the one and only Ayogabs in the building.
What up, y'all? What up? What up?
What's going on?
What's up? How you been?
You know, trying to get this shit rolling, trying to create content, trying to do podcasts, doing the fashion. You know, we trying to get in the mix, but we're definitely trying to connect and bridge more audiences. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of people from San Jose that are active in the streets in San Ho, doing their music, doing their business, whatever the case is. But when it comes to people that leave San Jose, there's not a lot of track record of what people are doing unless you're following them. You know what I mean? Yeah, which obviously you have your own audience, but believe it or not, there are some people in San Jose that maybe have not been introduced to you yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Or they just haven't run across from it for whatever reason. So this is why I'm glad I was able to bring you down here today, because I've been keeping up with your journey. Obviously, we know each other from years ago, from Oak Grove days. So it's so cool to see people that grew up with us in our section of San Jose, to see them do big things. So so now it's 2020. So how long has it been since you left San Jose?
I think it's now 3 years, barely 3 years.
Damn, only barely 3 years?
4 years now.
Jeez.
It's going to be 4 years. Yeah.
4 years. So there's some people that live their whole lives and they can't even imagine themselves jumping. You know what I mean?
I know. I can't even imagine myself that I even did it. That's the crazy thing. So. And
that's, why I want to be able to unpack, and I want people to hear more of your story and what you did and what the feelings of what you were going through at that time. But before we get into that, we want to be able to kind of highlight what's currently happening, how you are reacting to everything. So, how's everything going this 2020? How long has it been now? Since January? It's July. It's 8 months.
It's been wild because I feel like so many people
crazy.
Were like, oh, 2020 is going to be my year. Everybody was so positive and so impacted. I was just okay, everybody was so ready for everything to kind of shut down. And since it's we haven't been through this, I think being young adults, we haven't really been through this, especially when we're actually dealing with our own selves now. That it's super crazy to understand what's going on and why it's going on, and I just think it's definitely wild.
It's bigger than us, It's it's a global thing. It started off in China and then bounced us around from other countries, and then got into Orange County, then Santa Clara County, and then
on the Clorox wipes from a year ago or so, I already had saying the coronavirus on it.
Oh yeah, I did see that. I did see that.
Everything's just so skeptical.
You know what's so funny?
We learn everything late.
Yeah, so. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Unless people are doing their research through history, because E40 said it himself, history repeats itself, but opportunities don't. Exactly. And there's so much shit that the Spanish flu 1918 looks exactly like what's happening right now.
Yeah.
And it's just obviously as us, since we've been born, we haven't experienced anything close to this. Exactly. So I don't feel like anyone's figured out how to maneuver around this except Dana White, maybe. you know who Dana White is?
No, I do not.
UFC. The guy that owns the UFC, the bald guy.
Yes.
He got the fights and islands and shit.
Why do you think he would?
Well, I just said because he a lot of people's businesses stopped, and all the at the time NFL, NBA, and all that, they didn't do shit. NBA barely kind of recently started the playoffs and all that, but the UFC guy, he was the first guy to figure out the sports shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's definitely a challenge for everyone. So how has it impacted you?
Well, it's impacted me, and I think everybody else so much. I think with me, especially with like the DJing and stuff, it was like, okay, people go to clubs and stuff. We're not doing no virtual stuff unless people are already doing it on Twitch, right? And I think everybody had like their niche where it's like, okay, yeah, we'll do that, but it wasn't mandatory to, okay, we got to wake up to it now. You know? So I feel like there's just a big shift of how everything's going on now, and it's definitely super shocking, but at the same time, like, I know that probably music like that probably isn't going to come around maybe to like next summer or so. Because
it's just going to be crazy. And it's the
first industry to like shut down, and it's probably going to be the last one to reopen, you know? So it's just very crazy. It was, I mean, obviously financially it's a huge breakdown with that as well. So
cancer right now. Okay, so we're going to continue this shit. Sorry for that shit. This is definitely some amateur production right here, but we trying to get this shit rolling. I mean, we could just go and then we'll pause it and redo. We could do that. It's all good.
Okay. Well, I didn't. I just told him I was going to be here. But.
No, it's all good. I mean, I've been telling him to come down anyway.
Oh, okay.
So.
Cool.
Yeah, see, that's that neighborhood connection. You know what I'm saying? That real South. Real South. So how do you feel about that? Like, because, like, you know, the politics when it comes to San Jose and the sections and shit, people are, like, so prideful of it. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like it was like that.
With what?
When we were young. I mean, maybe it kind of was and now it wasn't, but, like, people that are from San Jose. Because San Jose is low-key. You know, I know you've been gone for a while, but
it's so like
it's different, low key.
Oh, very different.
Like people are out here really trying to make a name for themselves, but within the geographic of San Jose.
And it's super crazy too.
It is
because it's crazy that you say that because a lot of people will be like, "Oh, you're from Los Angeles." I'm like, no. Or sometimes they'll even just put that without even asking me.
Yeah.
Just because they think I live there means like, "Oh, I'm from there," and I was like, no.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
And
too.
I think they see that, and it's just like I feel like I really have to say address it. Because I feel like so many people do that, and it irritates me because I'm just like, I'm not from here. Like,
I'm not from this motherfucking town.
Yeah, exactly.
But LA is beautiful, though. I'm pretty sure.
Most definitely.
So, like,
ain't nothing like the Bay.
Ain't nothing like the Bay. You heard that. So how does it feel to be back in the Bay Area during, like, the craziest weather, the air quality at its worst we've ever seen? And it's just impacted our city dramatically, not just here, but, like, the whole Bay Area. But the South Bay is taking it pretty bad right now. Santa Cruz and Coyote and a little more north towards San Francisco. It's crazy.
It's sad.
So how does it feel like to be witnessing all this now that you're back here?
Well, I feel like it's just, since we're already witnessing so much, I feel like everything that we're already witnessing now, we're just like, okay, what's next? You know, like what else is going to happen? What else are we going to go through? And I think coming at the worst time ever is something very difficult as well, because there's just so much things that are like backtracked on. But no, I think it's sad. I think it's super sad. Like,
yeah, it's crazy because like, first, people were already worried about going outside because of the coronavirus, and now you can't even legitimately breathe this shit. It's like everywhere. Horrible. It's airborne. Shit just went airborne. And, you know, people are not even like, there's no work. You know what I'm saying? There's 50 million plus people that are unemployed. You know what I'm saying? Luckily for creators like us, we have an alternative to our hustle. You know what I'm saying? Because some people, like in our position, they'll have a 9-to-5 and then they'll do their hustle. You know, like, so how does that lifestyle implement with you, like, when it comes to your production and how you're keeping things sustained?
Well, I think everything has to do with, like, already knowing that, like, now, like, how it is nowadays, like, you can't live with one income. Like, there's no way we can live with one income. So it's, like, I think just having different incomes coming from different little things, whether it's, like, from production or it's from gigs, and now that's kind of crossed out of the thing. And then it's, like, from unemployment, and then now, like, I think unemployment is not even giving money.
Yeah, they've been
like,
cutting it out.
Yeah, so much that it's just, like, people are not even making what they do at 2 weeks.
They were,
no, for sure. They're, like, hating the president, but yet they're all taking his money.
Facts.
And not saying anything about it, and I'm, like, so confused.
They're like, fuck Donald Trump, but I'll still take the check, though.
Exactly.
That's literally what they're tweeting now and shit.
So, yeah, it's been difficult, for sure.
Beta, LA. So, like, when the lockdown first kicked off, like, you know, how was that? You know what I'm saying? Like, because some people were legit, like, locked in, tucked in. I'm not even leaving outside. I know I was tucked off. Like, I stayed inside a whole ass month. I probably only went outside to go to Starbucks or some shit to drive through, like, in the car, because Starbucks was, like, 5 minutes away from the house. So I was like, that was the only reason I left. And then I guess, like, end of March, April is when I was like, okay, let's go do certain things now. You know what I mean? But not all the way. So are you, like, all the way coming out yet? Or are you still kind of like precautious?
Well, I feel like I have to be precautious, not just because of me, because I feel like if I'm not, then I'm just going to be super selfish and not really caring, because this is real. I'm not saying that dying on the floor is completely like happening, because I don't think it's happening. I think all this is like bullshit. I think so, but I also think that, I don't know, I just think it's crazy. Like,
no, I think that's a good perspective, and I think it's a very important thing that you're highlighting, because some people are selfishly like doing certain things that are putting other people at risk, and even from their own family members. Like, I've seen it play out, and I understand it more and more. Even with my own family, I'm like, shit, I'm over here going to the store, and I Snapchat it. And my mom has me on Snap. She's like, dude, I told you can't be coming in and out the house type shit. You know what I mean?
I think too, it's like the news scare us so much that like we think that, okay, it's really going to affect us. I think it's really only affects the older people, one, and I think it affects people that have like a really weak immune system. But I also think too that like everything is changing, and we're so overpopulated that they want to just wipe us out, the ones that they can. So I mean, there's just so many things. So everybody has their own different opinions, but I think they are making this super more dramatic to keep us controlled. In a sense. So
I agree to an extent. I feel like everything is like, I mean, the person I had on the podcast before you, his name is Frankie M. Comedy. Like, he's like an amateur comedian out here in San Jose. And he was telling me, like, everything now is a conspiracy. Like, everything.
It really
like,
is.
UFOs to coronavirus to vaccines. Like, nowadays, you can't even believe anything. There's so much information. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Has that, like, clouded your judgment with things, too, aside from corona?
Completely. Because I feel like there's just so much things happening as well that they're not addressing through the media, because they don't want people to know, and they want just people to see like what's going on. Like, you know, it's just like the media wants us to see what they want us to see, and they're always gonna pick at things like the school shootings and stuff when that was super massive.
That shit was low-key
It was happening
crazy.
every week, and all of a sudden there's none. So it's just like, it's weird how everything pinpoints to one thing towards another. So I think there's just a lot of things that we know that they are trying to just keep us controlled and not have that power to, because right now, if you think about it, we're all changing like the way we think. There's a lot of us like are changing the way we are and like how we speak up with a lot of certain things with life. So I feel like they're kind of like scared, like, oh, okay, they're waking up now. Like,
for sure. I think so too. People are being more conscious and shit. You know what I mean? Like with the police situation, vaccination,
everything. Exactly.
Man, what a weird time we're living in right now. I think this is gonna be a dope ass movie 10 years from now.
Right?
Whoever fucking films this shit, you finna have a fucking Golden Globe Award.
I feel bad for the parents that have kids right now.
Yeah. Sorry, parents.
No, the parents, like parents that have kids right now during this
you're talking about like newborns.
Or even just kids in general, because they're homeschooling them right now.
Yeah, for sure. Like my nephew,
they're going crazy.
My nephew just turned 1, and just seeing him grow up is kind of like, you know, if I'm looking at the perspective of my sister, she kind of like a little more like worried about hella shit now, like from leaving the house to like who encounters him and shit. So I understand what you're saying. Like, you know, it's a weird time right now for parents. So yeah, I guess I want to unpack a little bit more of like your journey now, of like how you know, what got you into leaving here and going to LA, and understanding a little bit more of what you're doing exactly. Cause I know you're producing, I know you're DJing, but like there's a whole culture that I haven't even got a chance to tap into, that I feel like, you know, a lot of people are connected through, you know, creating musics together, mixing projects. Because I know, like, as a DJ, you mix different songs, and eventually that could be sampled off of someone's shit, and someone's shit could be a whole other genre, and that could legitimately be promoting someone else. So I feel like it's important for people that are in the rap culture, are in the hip hop, do understand the value of your work. So then that could be an opportunity for them and an opportunity for yourself. So I guess the first question I have is, how did LA embrace a Bay Area cat? You know, because when it comes to Bay Area shit, like, I feel like when it comes to us as individuals, we have this dope energy. Like, we have authentic features. You feel me? Like, definitely. we can sense, we have the ability to see the transparency and shit. You know what I'm saying? We have the ability to kind of like turn it up and shit. You know what I mean? Like, we know how to get lit. So has the LA culture embraced you in that sense?
Well, I mean, I think it's just like, you always just have to keep it true to yourself, most definitely, and understanding that like where you're from and where I'm from is super important to me, and that's why it irritates me when people think that I'm from Los Angeles, because I'm like, no, because I really am from San Jose. Yeah. And the thing is, it's like, I feel like San Jose is so, like, we're so underground that a lot of people, there's so many talent, but the thing is, it's getting out there. You know? And I think for me, it was changing. Like, moving out was what I needed to do. For sure. But definitely what you say, when we know, like, when people are from the Bay and they're in LA, we're like, oh, you get it. We're all just so happy because we're like, you're here. So like, okay.
Like, we're not alone.
Yeah, exactly. But it's so different because it's like LA is very different, where out there, what I encountered a lot was, what do you do, instead of like who you are just as a person, you know? And it's like, okay, well, everything was very cliquey, where it felt kind of like just, I think high school, middle school, when people are just in cliques, it feels like that. Like they don't know about you, but they want to know what you do. And whatever it is that you do, it's either, okay, you're cool or you're not, you know, like in that sense, you get me? But I think also too, it's definitely showed me a lot as well of like people change and friends change, and like we're not, if we're just from one like city and we're going to a next, like everything is so different, encountering so many different people. And because LA, like there's so many different people that live there that are not even from LA. So it's like you definitely like get to like know more about different cultures for sure. So
like the dynamic change pretty much.
Yeah, completely.
And
it's so much more diverse.
So how did you deal with it? You know what I mean? Like when it came to that friction.
Well, I think I've always been the type of person to like read the vibe and kind of put myself in there and just kind of like be kind of like, how do I say this? Kind of like, I'm trying to look for the word. I'm just comfortable. So I think when I'm around people, I kind of sort of get down to their level, and I'm just observing everything and just keep to myself in that sense, where it's like I won't be too much, but I won't be way too quiet. I think I'm always just observing everything at first, and then by then I just started learning like who to fuck with, who not to, and just kind of like just protecting myself at all times, because it's really like there's just a lot of people that do want to just fuck you over, and you just got to be really careful, you know, and you can't trust everybody. So.
Yeah, definitely. I learned the hard way with that shit for surely, because like, you know, you don't understand people's intention. Maybe like they might fuck you over with the intention of benefiting themselves. Like they're genuinely probably not even trying to fuck you over, but since you have something that they want, they'll do whatever type of thing to obtain that.
Exactly.
So it's definitely a crazy
thing
to deal with.
From it. You have to. You got to live and learn, and you got to go through failures to get you where you need to see from the brighter side of like every situation. So
trial and error, experience is very necessary, especially because like you basically, like my mentor tells me this when I told him I wanted to start a business, because like building a business isn't always the most popular thing, you know what I mean, especially like when we were in high school and shit like that, or you're getting out of high school. Basically what he says, that what you did is that you're jumping off of the bridge and you're building an airplane on the way down, because like the idea is like you're taking a risk. Yes. And it's going to be hell the whole entire process until you see the light. And then once you see the light, that's when all the hard work and sacrifice actually pays off.
And you can have no expectations of when that's going to happen. Because I think when you have expectations with anything in life, then that's on you, you know, because at the same time, it's like, we never know when anything is going to happen. It can happen tomorrow. It can happen, 3-5 years from now. So you have to remind yourself all the time. Like, I feel like I talk to myself more than I talk to anybody else, because it's like, when I moved out, I knew that I was going to go through a lot, and I knew that I was going to go through so much. I didn't really know much about credit. My parents never really talked to me about credit. Things like that I really needed to know. I don't think it was there for me, and because they just wanted me to go to, school right after and do what they wanted, but I think still keep me under their wing, but at the same time not knowing like, okay, she has to learn all this stuff, And so I think when moving out, I just knew like, okay, you're going to go through some bad times and you're going to go through some good times. And I didn't know what it was going to be, but just understanding that like life's not going to be perfect, and I'm not going to get everything handed to me as much as I would love to. It's not going to happen, And I think especially, I think it's a good lesson right now during this pandemic as well, that like, if you think about it, like the people that are working right now and doing what they're doing to get to where they want to be, those are the people that are going to keep on going. The people that are not doing shit right now, whatever it is, they're going to fall off. They're wiping us out. If you think about it, if this pandemic did not show you anything, like no discipline on yourself, nothing, you're kicking it with your boys all the time, whatever, like it's just
shots.
It's just,
no, that's real though. That's hella real.
It's so like, it's the truth. And I think like you just have to keep picking yourself back up and just understanding like you're doing it for a reason. You already came this far for a reason, and why do you have to stop now? Because I think the biggest thing with me is like living with regret.
Yeah, for sure.
So much.
I agree with that.
So much. So yeah.
Because like if you live with regret, you know what I'm saying,
then you're gonna be old and you're gonna look at somebody younger than you and
you're
gonna be like,
grumpy ass
wish.
Motherfucker, just hella grumpy, like fuck everybody, fuck anyone that's trying to build something. I hella agree with that shit, because I feel like what this pandemic did is that it put a big ass mirror in front of everybody.
Yes.
And it made you look at, okay, like now that all this, responsibility for these corporations that we've been investing so much time on our lives into, now they prove to us that we're just a number, and they basically laid off majority of people. Obviously, this isn't fault for everyone because I feel like some people have genuine.
Even like small businesses.
Yeah, small businesses especially, you know what I mean? But I feel like small businesses, entrepreneurs, content creators are in the, like you said, they're in the best position right now because we were already practicing for this moment. You feel what I'm saying? Everything that you work towards is like preparation for the opportunity. So I feel like, you know, me doing content, doing podcasts and shit, even though it wasn't the hot thing to do at the time, now it's like, shit, I got content to drop. You know what I mean? Exactly. Like there's production studios that are closed for people to do shit. So yeah, I definitely see like this is like an opportunity for people to reflect on themselves. So what was one of the biggest things that you learned about yourself in this situation?
Oh my gosh, patience. For sure. Having just a lot, because I'm just super like such an impatient person. I just need to always be on the go.
Like I gotta go.
And I think patience definitely has taught me like this journey was like, it's not going to happen quick as much as you want it to, you know, because you're the only person stressing yourself out where you're just like, okay, am I doing this right? Am I doing this wrong? Well, we have to practice because we've never learned this type of thing before, you know? And in school, it was like, if you think about it, like you had someone pushing you, you had something due, you know, and now it's all on us to be like, okay, well, did you finish this because you were going to finish this? You know, it's like just having now like this level of push to have. So
it's all paying off for the journey.
Completely.
And in your journey, you happen to get some features and people to acknowledge your music. As I was doing some research through the algorithms and the YouTube and all these other platforms, I ran across that you had, you know, people that were acknowledging yourself from Major Lazer to Diplo to La Clinica Records or Middleland Festival. So how does it make you feel when these people acknowledge your work?
Rewarding. I think the biggest thing is rewarding. But I think also, too, it's like I'm still super shocked myself just because of being kind of like 3.5 years and for that to happen to me in such that time, you know, even though I feel like before that I already was going through a lot, you know, but like these were the years where I was just like more in shock that this is actually happening, you know, and I think I'm super humbled by it just because it makes me feel like, okay, this is just the beginning. Like this, you haven't even made it yet. Now people are watching and this is your step to keep going and keep putting stuff out. Because if you just, I'm like, okay, that's what I got and that's it. And, you know, if not putting any more work in, then that's just going to be like a missed opportunity on my end, you know?
Yeah. So. I agree with that 100%. So much, like, there's so many levels to it. You know what I mean? Like, you went 3 years and you're like, you hit a ceiling. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You got acknowledged. You felt that rewarding feeling. And
it's not like, okay, I'm right. Yes,
you're there.
It's there.
But there's more to go.
Now there's more. Yeah, there's more steps to the ladder.
It's the marathon. Word to Nipsey. Nipsey Hussle has said it himself with the marathons. For a lot of people, I feel like a lot of people still haven't understood the whole concept of the marathon. No. Like, there's people still barely getting put on Nipsey music, which is, you know, crazy to me. Yeah. But, you know, shout out to the GO himself. And happy belated birthday to Kobe Bryant. Yeah, his birthday was yesterday, so didn't get a chance to document that, so had to give the shout out now. So like LA has been really live like lately, like in the sense of like things going on from when Nipsey Hussle's passing and like the funeral and then Kobe Bryant passing and then just how that impacted the culture and then the protests, which like were crazy as fuck.
I know.
So I just feel like, you know, the city of LA is humongous. And it's definitely quadrupling the Bay Area, you know, as much as I love my Bay Area, but it's just being real. This is a pretty populated location. And your music has been like, you know, you've been focusing on your music strictly on that geographic. I'm assuming people stream it in other places. I you know, haven't got the logistics, but what are some crazy places that you've heard people like comment on your stuff and acknowledge that you're on your work?
I think the latest right now, I was on Twitch for Mad Decent a couple weeks ago. And I had a friend that works with Diplo, and he was just like, hey, like, you know, come over here, let's do it back to back. And I'm like, okay, I'm over here getting groceries. Like, real quick.
Like,
I'm
like, shit, okay, Trader Joe's.
I'm like 3 hours, not even Trader Joe's. Oh my God, I ain't got time for that yet. But what's it called? What was I going to say?
You don't fuck with Trader Joe's?
No, I do. I love it. Love it. But just with this pandemic,
Can't even be in public
shopping
places.
Over there right now.
Instacart is where it's at. For the ones that don't know, Instacart.
Oh yeah, that's super dope. It's super convenient.
Super, just hella expensive.
So I went on. That's what I was saying. I was on Mad Decent on their Twitch, and it was just crazy because it went from 800 to 5,000 people onto the thing, and I feel like from there I got so much more recognized where I was getting, okay, like all these followings on things on Instagram where I was like, okay, that was like a really huge thing for me. And I think also too, like doing just Twitch, like doing live streams for other different people that like artists that are like running it is giving me more exposure.
Collabs.
So yeah, so I definitely think this quarantine has definitely given me a lot of more exposure and where it's given. So I think that's like one thing I'm proud of for sure.
Yeah, I think there's a big market right now for like DJs, like right now, like especially with the Twitch and the live streaming and like all these
people
crazy
partying
like,
at home.
Dude, like people are streaming that shit, putting it on their speakers, and turning up.
Yeah.
I was actually gonna say that, like I like the fact that you cracked a different social channel like Twitch, even though Twitch has already been like out there and it's been actively being used. Yeah. But for people like that are on the level of trying to ascend, that's that word I call it, ascend. That utilizing that platform, because I think there's a lot of value in that. There's a lot of streamers, a lot of members, and like I said, like I feel like a lot of producers and DJs have been utilizing Twitch for that purpose.
Oh yeah.
So you feel like do you feel like the same people that follow you on Instagram were the ones watching that on Twitch, or do you feel like these were different people?
I do think there was different people for sure, just because it's like they're not exposed to me directly. They were exposed to me by somebody else, and especially being on Twitch, like there's so many people from so many like around the world just streaming that and just watching it. So I think that's honestly super sick that you get to connect with a lot more people. But I think like a lot of video gamers were doing this
they were going crazy.
Before.
Oh, they were
like,
going crazy.
Making millions of dollars, and now everyone was barely like picking up on it. But I also think it's a process too, because not everybody has the funds and not everybody has the space to actually create or have the mic to do something or like have a camera to record and having a green screen or whatever, or just wanting to do it.
Yeah, because I definitely want to do it, what I'm saying, but I haven't even like got to the logistics of it yet, you know what I mean? Because
the cable, the wire,
yeah,
like,
the wires are crazy.
Yeah.
I'm intimidated by those fucking wires.
YouTube University.
YouTube University, there you go. Rex Live Raj, word of him. So I also you had functions in Mexico before pre-COVID.
Yes.
How was that? Was that like a different type of experience? Because I feel like it's a different country technically.
It's a different
right?
vibe for sure.
Yeah.
For sure, it's a different vibe. It's wild, but it's fun. It's like just kind of like a different feel that you get over there. It's more authentic, so it's like
everyone's really trying to get fucked up.
Yeah. Literally, it's wild over there.
So I see, obviously I already know Clayton, but I know music runs in the family. And I was just curious because I know you guys were connecting during these time period, and I know he's over there making mixes and doing dope shit over there at Empire, working with Opposite Jim and Kamaya and all these different dope people. Is there any potential collaborations in the future?
Yeah, I mean, we've been working on stuff already, so that's good. That's already been in the works. We do have a track, but it was so long ago that I'm like, never.
we gotta do this. We gotta do it again.
No, yeah. So yeah, no, we're working on some stuff right now, so that's been dope. I just seen him like a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were working on some stuff.
So how would like something like in his profession, your profession, how would you guys collab? Just like for someone that doesn't know music.
Well, I think like for him. Well, what do you mean? For someone
like, because you do DJing and you do producing, correct? Yeah. But I'm assuming there's other attributes to that, like mixing and all that.
Well, yeah, so I think it's like there's steps to everything. So it's like just us coming up with a beat. And I think at first we kind of see what genre we want to go to.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, too, like he's super versatile. So he knows how to make a lot of things.
Very.
And I'm more on the Latin side. So we've been doing a lot more like Latin things together.
Ooh, but Latin's hot right now, especially with the mesh with hip hop. Like you see how Bad Bunny was at the fucking Super Bowl this past year with fucking J-Lo and Shakira. That was the most I've seen Latinos in the spotlight in a long time.
I think they've been starting to a lot more. And I think that's where it's at right now, where it's like, it's been like Latin music just hits.
Yeah,
crazy.
Imagine getting one of like the big Bay Area artists from Empire to hop on one of those productions that you guys would do. I know. Little Latin mix. Just throwing ideas out there.
I've been rapping now in
really?
Spanish, so we finished the track barely. Like 2 days ago we finally mastered it, and I'm on the vocals. I wrote it and we produced it, so it's gonna be dope.
That's what's up.
Waiting on the right time to release.
Experimenting new shit, huh?
Yes,
or you've already kind of been doing it, just been low key about
it. Little bit. Now it's kind of more like okay, let's get it out now. So.
Yeah. Man, so we got to know so much about your journey, just kind of like how you've impacted and how the process is. So I think people want to know a little bit more about you individually as a person and how you view life. And one thing I've noticed about your like content and like what you try to push out there is like positivity and controlling your energy and like being mindful of how your mind is. Like, where does that all come from? Like, what does that mean to you?
Well, I think as a kid, I've always seen like life so differently. I've always felt like I always saw something just in a different point of view, and I never saw anything as is or just judging people in like that way. I mean, yes, we have judged and we have done things that we don't want to do, and we're all not perfect, you know. So I definitely think just kind of like living this more of a positive lifestyle that I want to live for and just like practice for myself.
Yeah.
Just because I think there's so much more benefit than just being negative all the time or just, you know, stressing yourself out and just being like this weird bad vibe and then just spreading that around. It's horrible, you know. And sometimes I do get like that, especially through this pandemic. I was like stressing out because I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? That I stressed out so much that you sometimes just have to, you know, take a step back and think like you got to, you know, relax a little bit and breathe because
take a deep breath.
Yeah, completely. But yeah, no, I think like the spirituality of things of life is definitely impacted me more, where it's like law of attraction and just kind of like being a good person and just not, you know, not judging people for what they're doing because it's not bothering me whatsoever. You know, how someone's dressing or how a girl looks in that sense, or like someone walking around, it's like people are going to do what they do and you don't know really what they're going through, you know. So
yeah, that's a very good
like
point.
The biggest thing. And I think a lot of us, like, we forget, just us as kids, like, you be nice, you look at others when you're talking to them, you're like polite. Like, I feel like a lot of people forget that.
Yeah,
like
when
the
it comes to
simplest
morals.
things.
Yeah.
And it's like that's what I feel like we just need more in life, and people are shocked, you know. Like, I'll go to the grocery store and I'm like, they'll be like, hi, how are you? I'm like, good, how are you? And they're all shocked that I'm asking.
You
like,
said thank you.
Like, oh, no, you're asking me about my day. You know, like, it's so weird, but it's because, like, people are so used to, like, oh, I'm going to go get groceries and I'm out and I don't care. Like, you're doing your job. Not knowing that, like, they're human too, you know, so.
Yeah, even, like, little things, like holding the door for someone.
Yeah.
Or just saying, like, thank you. I hope you have a great day today.
There's a bunch
like,
of
sometimes that shit goes an extra mile for someone that's, like, going through some shit. Yeah. So do you feel like someone that's, like, not negative nor positive, but they're just neutral, do you feel like there's a benefit for them to speaking positive things into existence?
I think so. I think if they're aware of that, I feel like if they're aware, I think everything's like a practice, because like I'm not 110% there myself, you know, because it's like we grow up knowing all these morals and what our parents teach us, and like we are thinking now outside the box for ourselves, where it's kind of like you have to understand what's good on your end, you know? Yeah.
No, I agree with that. You feel like that's like a spiritual aspect of yourself? Like when it comes to that, would it be considered spiritual, or you feel like that's just positive thinking?
I think it's just positive thinking. Okay. I think in general, like in life, like why are we always going to be in a bad mood with something or someone, or, you know, like we're making ourselves, everything I think is a reflection of ourselves. Whether we're mad or stressed out, it's all a reflection of ourselves, and we're just putting it out towards everybody.
Period, man. It's what you give is what you get.
Exactly.
We're going to go take a little quick break intermission for this weed pickup. So we're going to go ahead and utilize Jared's services right now. So my mic fell, but I caught it. No one saw it, but, you know, God witnessed. And we're back from the weed break, and we are back in the building. So, yeah, we got some loud for today. So now we're going to get uplifted. But before we continue the positivity and the uplition, what would you tell the younger version of yourself before your journey?
Oh, my gosh. Really, what would I tell myself?
What advice would you give yourself? If you're like, you could literally go back 4 years ago and just right before you dip.
Stay focused. I think I was very distracted in things, and that was the one thing. I think I like get a lot of things done, but I think there was a lot of running around that should have been stopped. So, yeah. But I'm still young, and I think you live and learn from everything, and now it's just putting your focus on like what matters and what's important in your life, what's not, and what's a waste of time and what's not, you know, because when you're just running around too much, you lose a lot of focus, and you don't see it until the end goal is like, what have I been doing this whole time? So, yeah.
I mean, shit. How old were you when you actually went?
I was 20.
You were 20. You gotta keep in mind too. You were young.
I know.
You were ambitious. You were hungry.
Fresh.
So
I was like fresh meat.
And LA is like such a big city with so much standard of work and like project music, like the culture. It's a lot to embrace.
Well, the music industry is just so just so dirty as well. Like it's a crazy industry to be in, and I think especially as a female, it's definitely super crazy too, because a lot of people like misinterpret a lot of things and kind of like look at you as a female, where it's like, okay, well maybe we can do this to get this, and you know, and it's a lot of that you get as well, and I think it's always just preparing yourself for the next thing and just keeping it business at all times.
So what's the mindset you would tell another female coming into the industry? Because I feel like your advice and your words might be more valuable in this situation. Because I know for females in any industry, corporate America, music, whatever, they deal with a lot of obstacles. So what would you tell another woman that's trying to pursue what you're doing or similar range in the sense of mind frame?
I think don't lose yourself and don't forget, like, stand your ground, most definitely, and just understand that, like, you, like, nothing's free in this world, and, you know, that's the biggest thing. Nothing is free in this world, so don't get too, like, I think people get very, like, excited or things like that when, like, you hear something good, you know, and you kind of are like, okay, it's kind of like ear candy. It's like, you kind of, you know.
Nice word for it, ear candy.
Definitely.
That's real, though. Ear candy is real because motherfuckers.
It happens to guys and girls at all times of days. Like, it's just, we got to be careful because not everything we hear is, you know, truth. So.
Yeah, because, you know, it all sounds good on paper, but when it comes to the opportunity itself,
it's like,
is it worth it? I agree with that. Nothing is free, not even Costco samples. You need a membership. So,
exactly.
So how has your family embraced your journey? You know, being a Latina, first generation family, usually when it comes to culturally related goals, there's always a lot of challenge when it comes to your family understanding it. So how did you obtain the vision and, most importantly, keep those relationships intact when a misunderstanding would happen?
Well, I think being first generation is definitely very difficult because it's like when you have this expectation that this is what you're going to do because your parents want you to be a certain way, you know, because they wanted to give you a better life, like everybody that comes here, you know, and they've been through a lot themselves to just get here, you know. And I think the biggest thing too, just as a parent, I'm not a parent, but just thinking like if I was to have a kid and they want to do something and you're just scared as a parent because there's a lot of crazy shit that goes down nowadays. And now it's like, do you really want your kid to be out involved in stuff like that? Because you know what goes down and it's not like you were born yesterday, you know? So I definitely think that was very hard, especially like quitting college and stuff, just you know, and telling them like I was gonna leave in like a week or so, and they're just like, "What?
Damn.
Like, what is going on?"
So wait, you told them like, a week in advance?
Maybe like 2 weeks, maybe 2 weeks a week. I was just so scared.
I was your parent. I hate
so
your ass.
Scared.
No, I'm playing. I'm pretty sure any Latino
scary.
parent, when they would hear that, it's like,
I didn't know until
can you see that? You know what I'm saying? Like they'd be like, not understanding at first, but I'm pretty sure you've kind of deciphered that now. I'm assuming.
A little bit. I mean, it's like, I think they don't really get so much of it, you know, and I have to break down what I'm actually doing. Yeah. You get me? But at the same time, it's like, it's there at times where it's like, well, go to school. And I try to, like, at first they used to kind of, like, get me a little mad sometimes just because it's like, that's not what I want to hear all the time, you know? But at the same time, you have to come to an agreement that that's what they want for you. And two, I think before I even told them, I already knew that, like, this is my life and I'm going to do what I want to do because, you know, they had their life to live and that was their decision to do what they wanted to do. So now it's just my turn. But my parents, my mom especially, like, she's been always super supporting and she's already known that I was already going to leave maybe at a young age. So she was just like, okay, it's
just a matter of time.
Yeah. Oh my God. When I moved out, literally not even a week I was there. They're like, oh, we rented the room out. I was like, you guys had no faith that I was going to come back. Like,
making business plays.
A week. I was like, you guys weren't like thinking, okay, maybe she's gonna come back. No, they were like, oh, you staying out there then.
That's hella funny. I feel like that's so Latino for someone to do. You know what I mean? I feel like my parents would do the same shit real quick. They're finna flip it. They already trying to flip that shit, so I already know exactly how that shit works. Well, that's crazy. Yeah. So like you've lived your whole life in San Jose before you went to LA. For the people in San Jose, I guess they want to know a little bit more what San Jose is for you.
Oh, it's my home, most definitely. I think it's the culture that we have out here is like super, super dope. I think ever since like growing up and especially like with dance culture and music culture, like everything, whatever was popping, like we were always there, like accountable for everything, you know? And I think like having that, especially where I'm from and us going to Oak Grove and high school and stuff, there's a lot of culture there.
Super.
And
which
so
a lot of people don't know.
Yeah. And two, I think like that school was based on sports, you know, and it was that's what it was. And to me, it was like, okay, it's not really academic wise. So it's like, it was already entrepreneur as like, okay, let's get these sponsorship going. Yep. And that's what I saw where I was like, okay, well, you can make it out of that, you know, like completely. It was already hustling in that certain direction as is. So I
think that's one of the things I appreciated the most about Oak Grove is like the culture of Oak Grove. Like the people that went there, you got like Polynesians, Tongans, Samoans, blacks, Latinos, Nicaraguenses, Mexicans, you know what I'm saying? Like you got all Filipinos, Asians, you got all walks of life in the same place. Silicon Valley has already been known for that. But when you look across the board of the schools, like all the East Side schools is predominantly Latinos and then a small conjunction of them like black or white or Asian. But what I noticed about Oak Grove is that it was very, very equal when it comes to that. I mean, I feel like there was more Mexicans than Asians for sure, but there was definitely like more like groups that I feel like we all shared perspectives because we all grew up in the same way. You know what I mean? Like we grew up down the street, we grew up in this part of town, but it's all like South. You know what I mean? And even people like that were our peers that are older and younger. I feel like Oak Grove low-key made a talent factory. I'm not saying they did, but I'm saying like that geographic, like that area of San Jose had like a really dope geographic of people where like you have athletes, like you got Cheeto Bay Woozy on the Dallas Cowboys. You got Flan Marciano, he's a gaming god. He's doing his content for YouTube, and you know, yourself, you're doing DJing, and like for myself, content distribution. Like there's so many different tastes of flavors out there. You feel what I'm saying? But not discrediting anywhere else in San Jose. I'm just saying like I appreciated that.
Yes, most definitely. No, I'm super happy for us. It's just like it just shows me that like we're all trying to do something and we're not stopping, you know, like most definitely. So,
well, I think we covered most of the things, and I know, you know what I'm saying, I'm very grateful that I was able to capture some time with you guys and get a chance to formally meet you guys and share your story, and most importantly, give a platform for the culture out here in San Jose. I guess the last thing to conclude this podcast is, you know, what is coming, you know, what should people anticipate? And, you know, what should they be on the lookout for?
Let's see. Well, I have a track right now. I collabed with a DJ artist, producer named Travieso. So it's kind of like troublemaker in English. So we have a song coming out soon, and that's going to be, I think that's going to pop off maybe in a good standpoint. So I think that's going to be good. I'm going to be doing a lot more Twitch, like just recording.
Twitch game.
That's where we got to be at right now.
Hell yeah.
And yeah, just keeping it live and my socials and stuff and not disappearing, because I do that at times.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you got to.
We have to like take care of our mental health for sure, you know.
Mental health is very important. It's a very not really talked about type of thing, but it should be, especially for creators, because I feel like you're using all types of parts of your brain, and it's really easy to kind of fall in that rabbit hole. And we're never content
with ourselves. We always think like we can be better.
Especially if you're someone that's like always trying to strive for more and strive for greatness.
For sure.
So what's some advice that you would give to someone from San Jose or someone that's up and rising in Silicon Valley, seeing what you're doing, they're motivated, but they just want to get the foot in the door? What's your advice to them?
Just say fuck it and go.
Just say fuck it and go. I like it.
That's it. All gas, no brakes.
All gas, no brakes. So how could people support you? How could they, consume your content? How could they stream all your stuff?
You can go now on Spotify, iTunes, all music platforms at Ayogabs, AYOGABS, and Twitter is Ayogabs Music. So, yeah.
I'm going to put the graphics on the screen so you'll see it. But make sure everyone goes on iTunes, go on Spotify, search up Ayogabs, AYOGABS, stream every song, add it to your playlist. Need everyone to support this individual. And then YouTube, do you have any YouTube content as well?
YouTube, I do, but that's not under my channel.
Got
so
you.
That'll be coming soon as well.
Well, it's on the way. And you guys already heard it here first. Anticipation for the new project coming soon. Stream the content. And any other place they can find you? Am I missing anything? Website?
No, I think that's it.
All
Twitch,
right.
everything.
Twitch.
Everything's under Ayogabs.
Be on the lookout for Twitch. But yeah, man. So once again, thank you so much for your time, for coming down. And we look forward. This isn't the first meeting. We'll probably do a podcast later down the year, next year, whatever, however shit plays out. Exactly. But with that being said,
we'll be on Mars.
Yeah, we'll be on Mars, the moon, whatever fucking Elon Musk wants to do. But yeah, man. So we're out in downtown San Jose. This is the Low Key Facts podcast. It ain't exclusive if it ain't a EMLN exclusive. This is your boy BQ, Ayogabs. And we out. Peace.
Smoking through it all, cause nothing in life lasts forever. We don't want these hoes, don't want the fame, we want the cheddar. Told her we can have it.